Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first game of Winners Finals in the lower bracket of our Hollow Knight Lockout Bingo tournament. This is going to be a real treat of a match between Mike P and Adyn, both of whom joined the tournament after the Swiss phase and have proved that they should have been in upper bracket all along by kind of dominating their way to the Winners Finals slot.
Yep, this will be the first match in a best-of-3 series between them to see who will be moving on to grand finals and who will be dropping down to losers. And we have an extremely content board here. Locust would love this board. It has 4 Abyss goals with Lifeblood Core Room, Swimming the Void Pool, Abyss Shriek Check, and Void Tendrils Journal Entry, as well as 3 Trampass goals with Obtain Trampass, Water Raise Grubs, and Hive Mask Shard. And also some early goals to spice things up with /2 Shade Gates and False Knight Brooding Moloch.
As well as 2 individual Dreamers to obtain and 2 of the least enjoyed bosses to fight in Hornet 2 and Collector. So this is absolutely going to be some content, and with a couple unlucky breaks could be a very swingy race because of how much is gated behind some of those one-offs. So glad to be in the best-of-3 format for this board. Coming out of KP, and
looks like Mike is skipping that Fury check, rushing straight for False Knight Breathing Moloch.
And Adyn gonna make the check, and 585 is a good amount of gold to have for shops. Not a whole lot of random stuff to obtain, but not feeling too bad about being able to tour shops with that.
Oh, and there's
for instance, being able to afford wings.
Yeah, that was very close to being too expensive there.
So right away we can tell the stark divide in between seeds that Locust generates and seeds that I generate, because we got vertical right out of the gate. Probably doesn't change too much of the early game routing, honestly. Either you're going for False Knight Moloch or you're trying to get to 2 Shade Gates.
Looks like Mike is skipping Moloch, so this might be a rush to Shade Gates instead.
Could also just be trying to do False Knight first. It does lose the amount of time it takes to walk back around to Moloch, but you've got 5 checks theoretically in between them, assuming you check Crossroads and Dirtmouth Stags, to get some sort of power spike for the Moloch fight. Which is something you appreciate.
Yeah, but you also lose a bit of time in walking to Ancestral Mound. Either that, or you lose time walking back there after skipping it to rush Moloch, because if you do Moloch first, it's all like one very smooth path that, and you can mark False Knight before going. You can mark the goal before going to Mound, but if you go this way, you do have to walk that extra bit.
And it looks like Adyn is making the hard call to go right for Shade Gates, or at least to run down to Leg Eater to get some early divergence.
Yeah, so this will be some good divergence here. That's a Lifeblood charm. Not really too relevant on this board. This will probably be a gold trade here, with Mike getting False Knight Brooding Moloch and Adyn getting Shade Gates.
And you're sort of banking that there's no further progression in Crossroads, because going to Shade Gates around this way takes a fair bit of time, and so assuming that Mike is not following you here, you know you're conceding everything that's left in Crossroads, basically.
Looks like Mike is actually going to go to shops instead of going for either of the quick goals. Really interesting play there.
That could be potentially just running right side right away. Like, Lore Tablet and Ancient Basin is accessible on Medium Logic with the Shade Skip with Wings.
Oh, this is just Blue Lake. I completely forgot that was on the goal. On the board.
Yep, so that'll be probably 2 goals of Mike's choosing. Blue Lake and either Basin Lore or False Knight Moloch. As well as a ton of shop checks, which could get him some of the random things left.
Yeah. With wings, I do still kind of like Adyn's play to go for Shade Gates, because if you get Dreamnail, you're set up for Willow as well. But there's just a lot of things you can rush here.
Tekken Lifeblood Charm at Salubra, but otherwise looking like kind of a bust.
Yeah.
Mike not even investing the time to go free Sly, as Adyn picks up a Nail Art. Not on this board as just the Obtain, but Nail Art in its Nail Master's Hut is Great Slash being the worst one to pick up for that goal, because she is a bit of a trial to get to.
I hear you can do it without Claw, or so I've been told by certain Conra77.
Some of the, most content-affiliated people in the Hollow Knight community would have you believe that it is doable without Claw.
So it looks like Mike is continuing over to right side. I think I kind of like this, actually, because you want to go towards right side eventually for right side goals, including like all the Abyss goals you want Basin. So saving the progress you've already made into Blue Lake is pretty good.
And just tunneling right for it, can come back for Resting Ground later, can come back for... I bet we're not going to see the Gauntlet above King Station with no spells, especially with Basin Lore Tablet on the board. Seems convenient to just run right all the way down there.
Interesting decision whether or not you get the Basin Toll Bench here. It means you have much less walking to do later, but it also both costs 150 Geo and could lose you the goal if the other person is right behind you.
I wonder if Adyn is going to hold on to marking 2 Shade Gates to... It would be a very bold call to try and like bait some sort of play out of Mike, but Adyn is probably confident that Mike is not at least following him too directly. Yeah,
Blue Lake, like Adyn's can be fairly certain that the Lake of Oon Blue Lake goal was actually Blue Lake, and that's pretty far away from 2 Shade Gates. But it looks like that pause is Adyn marking it here.
Let's see, perhaps a bit of just a slight delay on the bingo board there, but gonna tie it up 1-1. So Mike, warping back around, gonna finish out Dirt Math stuff. It looks like he's heading back for Moloch, maybe? Or just finishing up shop checks with Sly.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Mike isn't going straight to Moloch and False Knight here. Mike knows that Adyn literally just marked the Shade Gates goal, though I guess Adyn could have held it for a bit. So if Mike got started right now, he can't be behind at all.
A vanilla, or at least French vanilla Mask Shard in Queen Station, and it looks like both of them are now starting on the crossroads progression as it usually goes when you don't find vertical at a Zelda.
Yeah, if both of them are going for this False Knight Brooding Moloch goal, Mike is definitely ahead here, having already gotten Crossroads Stag, and is already entering False Knight.
And unless you're unless Great Slash gets you a real damage buff, this is probably going to be Mike's. Both of these runners very seasoned, and although we know that dying to False Knight has been proven to be a tournament-winning strategy, I am going to expect both runners to get through False Knight and Moloch with no upgrades, with no trouble.
I think Great Slash can save you probably like a few nail hits across the course of a False Knight fight, just because there's some times where like you can't hit False Knight between staggers and such. But I don't know about Moloch, so I highly doubt this will be Adyn's goal.
So clean false knight fight. Fairly few ways to have an unclean false knight fight.
I died to false knight the other day in the blackout.
You know, it does happen. Quite literally the best among us.
I tried using Dream Shield against false knight and thought I could make a damage cycle by taking only 1 damage, and I was wrong. I was betrayed by my minion charm. As
there's
often
a simple
happens.
key right away, so good on Adyn to at least catch up on that, because you don't want to be behind that sort of random goal that you can still fight for.
Yeah, simple key not too immediately important on this board, but might be relevant for progression or later for 3 waterways grubs.
And Mike did go up to check Mound and sees a Boulder Killer there, but not on medium logic. So if Adyn were to rush right over to Moloch, it could be closer. It's still probably Mike's, but...
Yeah, Mike is... Even if Adyn warped out right now, just as False Knight dies,
yeah,
Mike
Mike's
is still
too far
ahead to Moloch. The only way I could see this going Adyn's way is if Mike dies to Moloch, honestly.
Which we know would never happen. But okay, Adyn gonna even up simple keys, and we'll see if he tries to rush the goal or not.
Looks like this is a Moloch rush from Adyn. Unfortunate.
For that great slash power spike.
Oh, I missed the use 2 keys goal on the board. Thanks, serious business. So that is relevant.
Well, Mike, with a bit of an unclean opening to this Moloch fight.
Taking a heal pretty wisely there. There is a reason why Moloch is not in logic with nothing on medium even. Because it's fairly annoying and long.
Yeah, and the advantage of it not being in logic is that you're less likely to have it required for progression. And in this case, picking up the famed invisible charm.
Absolutely nothing.
Adyn looks like he's going to finish the fight just in case it's claw, as happens a little bit too often, but is going to lose that goal 2-1 to Mike.
Looks like this is this is Mike starting on the Fog Canyon and Crossroads Grubs goal, as well as maybe a grub check. Always good to know that information. Meanwhile, was that King Station Stag at Lake Eater? I didn't quite catch that.
It looked like Dirtmouth Stag.
Okay.
So less useful than historically has been, and it's going to remind Adyn to actually check Dirtmouth Stag, although we know already that's nothing. Meanwhile, getting our first Grubs check.
Unbreakable
Strength is
Strength
nice
at
to
12.
have, but yeah, a little bit expensive.
Looks like mostly a bust. So clearly the correct play right now is to Venge Fly Pogo into cliffs and do the Joni's Dark Room with wings.
I mean, not outside of the realm of possibility. I'm fairly certain both these runners are comfortable with the Joni's skip, and certainly more comfortable than I am with Dark Rooms. A little bit of a time investment, as Adyn also is going to check Grubs here. Mike's just going to rotate down to read the lore tablet in Ancient Basin, get that early goal lead out of the way.
Yep. After you do Joni's, then the next best course of action is to go into Kingdom's Edge, Aspid Pogo up to Hornet 2, and do Hornet 2 with Nail 0, clearly.
Looks like we are going to get this. I believe this is still out of logic on medium, because it is considered a spike tunnel in the game, but just a Rancid Egg. hilarious because usually the way the meme goes is that you get C-dash and have little else to do. But with Wings, he can check Basin's simple key while he's down here, which is famous for having some kind of progression.
Yeah, but that's a very, very slow check with just Wings, since you need to pogo across the spikes all the way over there. There's a lot open right now with Wings, especially on medium, since right side is open. And was that a VS at the fountain?
I think I saw VS, yeah. So as opposed to last seed where you got a lot of damage early and no movement, it looks like we're getting some quick movement, and damage is being hard to get.
So it looks like Mike is going to be getting this toll bench. Going to be extremely low on Geo, but already checked most shops, so should be fine.
And we've already seen, unfortunately, that Leg Eater was nothing too special.
But yeah, with Wings, like all of Green Path's open, all of Fungal's open, including Mantis Lords, basically. A bunch of stuff in right side, including, I think, even going up to storerooms in City. So there's a lot of stuff that they can go do. Looks like Mike is going to be doing the Shade Skip to Soul Catcher, giving us a bit of content. Unfortunately, not the Wraith's Shade Skip.
Yeah, but smart following of logic here. Like everything that we've seen so far has been in logic, but some of these more obnoxious Shade Skips, like Salubra with nothing or Soul Catcher with wings, are hard to immediately think of. And if this is any number of random things, that would be very nice to have at this check.
Dupe Wings.
Like, how about Monarch Wings? The seed really wanted to just like make sure you got vertical in Crossroads. Very kind.
Vertical, but not claw. Looks like Mike is going over to Fungal, following Adyn a bit, while Adyn goes up to Green Path. This might be a Leg Eater check from Mike. And yeah, maybe even Mantis Lords. Mantis Lords is in logic even without any spells, and with wings on medium.
Adyn looks like skipping massive Moss Charger for the time being. Gonna head up towards upper Green Path, or perhaps just getting the bench first for a quick warp back. Chat also bringing up that Go Mask Shard, famous for being an obtain goal last race, still unchecked in this race.
Looks like Mike's going to be doing this pogo up to cliffs, perhaps making the play I was talking about earlier of checking Jonies right now.
So this play is obviously Jonies is out of logic because Dark Room, but all means of getting up to cliffs without Claw or Mustag are also spicy skips. But it looks like he's just doubling back for Fury.
Oh, it looks like he is going to continue to do the Vengefly pogo though, so we will get some content. Nice routing though, remembering to route Fury back in. Unfortunately, loses that second Vengefly.
Doesn't make the trick impossible, just makes it a little bit harder. And invest a fair bit of time in this long walk over.
Yeah, I think the main reason why this version of the skip up to cliffs is in spicy is because it just takes so long to reset.
Yeah, it's a courtesy feature more than anything else. Those of you unaware, the way you get up here with wings is there's a set of Vengefly pogos you can do that involves pogoing on spikes while waiting for this Vengefly to join you. Accidentally kill the Vengefly too low, it is very annoying because you have to reset the whole thing. But Mike's gonna make it up cleanly. So that is theoretically check Jonies if he's willing to do the Dark Room, which I would assume was the intention behind this play. But we will see. The
skip up to cliffs is pretty long for not that many checks if you're not also getting the Joni's goal with it.
Especially without having enough Geo to afford Stag, doesn't have the nail art for this, and doesn't have a way to get Balder's Shell. It's Mark of Pride if he really wants to sit there for a while.
So that's Elegant Key for Mike, which it looks like he's going to take that into Left City to go quickly kill 2 Soul Warriors. Not trivial with just Nail 0 and no form of other damage. But
and also not having dash.
Yeah. This will also be a bunch of checks that Mike is getting here. There are new cities, especially Storms is a pretty dense area.
And stopping by Gorgeous Husk to top up on Geo.
I'm actually not so sure why Mike is choosing to kill Gorgeous Husk here. There's like not anything in... I didn't remember seeing anything in shops that would have been nice to have.
Could just be eyeing the VS at Fountain.
Maybe.
Having some damage is better than having no damage. Adyn, meanwhile, going to go to Resting Grounds, which Mike skipped on his way down to these early goals. Yeah, not super aware of Mike's relic count, but I don't think he can make it all the way up to 3,000 with just one Lem trip. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, Jamie, I thought about the toll, but Mike did have enough money to afford the toll, and then could sell to Lem afterwards for Geo with problems. So maybe just eyeing the 3K.
Nail 1 is also certainly a possibility, although it is dangerous when you have wings but no claw to get early nail upgrades, because you really don't want to jeopardize your ability to pogo to make some of the skips in medium logic work.
I think Nail 1... I think after... I think in medium logic, Nail 1 is fine, and maybe even Nail 2. And especially now that Mike's done the pogo to Cliffs.
Yeah, it's one of the big ones. Adyn, meanwhile, finding the only named Dreamer that's not on the board.
I wonder how many times we've seen a race where that's happened versus
too simple
the opposite.
I hope this is a quick Waterways GG's Hut from Adyn, because that was not too inaccessible a simple key for Mike to pick up.
I think Waterways plus Pleasure House has got to be better, right? It might, at least, yeah, if you're going towards Waterways, you're going to pass by Pleasure House anyways. And you can just, like, not even check Pleasure House, just insert the simple key and move on if you're really rushing. And probably faster than GG's Hut even.
Yeah, probably. Mike, meanwhile, heading on up to Soul Sanctum. So the question becomes, what of these checks is Adyn likely to do? Adyn probably going to check any percent King Station and the relic above it. Probably not going to go up to Sanctum, especially if Mike is fast about killing off these 2 Soul Warriors.
Yeah, though I don't think Adyn's going to be getting that Elegant Key in Cliffs anytime soon.
Yeah, so Mike looking poised to go up 5 to maybe 2 here.
What's the 5th goal? Oh, I guess Joni's?
Yeah. I assume after 2 Soul Warriors he warps back up to Motto.
Yeah. Equipping Thorns? Equipping Mark of Pride. This Soul Warrior Mike is about to do is definitely no joke with Nail 0. All of the minions it spawns, just add 3 more nail hits you need to spend not hitting it.
Yeah, and this Soul Warrior has significantly more health than the one in Soul Sanctum generically. I don't remember if it's exactly double or just some amount of health buff, but it's a harder fight in every way.
I think the first room rando I did, I had to fight this Soul Warrior with nothing, except I think Mark of Pride as well, in order to progress. So that was fun. I spent like 10 tries or something.
Not a trivial boss fight by any means, but Mike looking okay here. Doing a good job of clearing the never remember which one is a folly and which one is a mistake. I think the flying ones are follies. Clearing the follies as soon as they spawn while also being able to pile damage onto the warrior himself. Adyn is taking the time to check Pleasure House and rewarded with a dash.
That's pretty
huge.
big. I don't know if, depending on like whether whether Mike thinks Adyn has dash or something that he's missing, Mike might never check Pleasure House once Adyn marks this 2 simple keys goal.
And Mike gonna take a death to the Soul Warrior. Couldn't keep up with the folly spawn.
Yeah. One of the worst parts of that fight is that you just don't have any time to heal either.
But undeterred, gonna run right back in.
Yeah, I think I definitely would have gone for at least 1 nail upgrade before taking this on, but I am not the best at this fight.
Looks like he's taking better advantage of his wings this time around to stay out of the immediate threat range of the warrior itself. Adyn marking off 2 simple keys, but not opting to check waterways just yet. Going to sell to Lem first and check rafters, looks like.
Like, trying the best to avoid the lava floor in this fight.
It ain't broke as a strategy, don't fix it. That has to have been like the first vulnerable frame again that he got hit by that projectile. That looked kinda janky.
How much health does this thing have? It's gotta be dead soon, right?
The Soul Warrior, yeah, not quite double health, but the Soul Warrior in
There you go.
in this room has 300 health to the 180 of the generic Soul Warrior. So yeah, that's I think the same amount of health as Moloch. So
I thought Moloch was like 400, but like certainly with all the 15 health enemies spawning, you get a bit more effective health here.
And meanwhile, it looks like Adyn is going up to Soul Sanctum. It's interesting.
You have to go this way if you have wings to get to the toll bench. That might just be what Adyn's doing.
Obviously cannot compete for 2 Soul Warriors without Elegant Key.
I don't know, you just gotta find Dive and Dream Nail really quick and go down to Godham.
I mean, technically, he could compete for it.
This much easier Soul Warrior.
Do it in Calo 3. That takes about as much time as 200 HP, right?
Yep.
Looks like Adyn just continuing out to storerooms, which is actually not bad because they'll get these checks before Mike, assuming Mike does not continue on into Soul Sanctum, which doing Soul Sanctum without Claw and Dive is rough because you're stranding a bunch of things.
Yeah, especially doing Soul Master with Nail 0, no dash. Sounds painful. Storeroom tag at City Key, share him off the tay.
Just a little wink wink nudge nudge from the seed there. So Mike gonna go up to 4-2 here.
Looks like he's gonna be following Adyn a bit here into storerooms, unfortunately. For him, there's QG stag.
And Adyn checking it immediately. Nice. I wonder if we also get the comeback here, the stag relic check. Or if you continue up through storerooms first. It looks like we are getting that relic, sort of famed alongside its other similarly nicknamed counterparts, Autopilot Seal, for being hard to remember to check 100% of the time. So good on Adyn for doing that.
Yeah. Here we're kind of seeing just how much difference Dash makes, with Mike going through these checks much slower than Adyn has been.
And Grimchild's not a bad pickup. It's not one of the one-off checks that we're looking for this seed, but still pretty good to have.
Yeah, it gives this one check right here, which is a simple key. So Mike might get that as well, and that might lead him to check Pleasure House, which would be good for him. As well as Troop Master Grim might be put in Logic later with 2 spells.
Yeah, still a little ways out from seeing that. I mean, we know where one spell is, but neither runner are looking like immediately grabbing that.
Mike
so
immediately
just gonna finish up. I mean, you need damage somewhere.
Yeah, looks like this is Mike going over to check the QG egg and not come back here first.
So that could be potentially big if that is something and Adyn skipped it. Just a mask shard in Crossroads here, and the QG egg. Heavy blow.
Hey, you can use that heavy blow for an easier time, or to be able to skip up to the first check in edge with that boo fly, right? I think maybe with wings.
Yeah.
Who
I have
knows?
no idea. But shout outs to Adyn. Actually watched the last race, remembering to check Go Mask Shard. Now, of course, it's fated to be nothing of use.
Glowing Womb. Not quite useful.
I think that, I mean, not counting the 3000 Geo Vengeful Spirit, is that the first logical Baldur killer we've seen?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
So, irrelevant for, or no, Adyn didn't check Soulcatcher yet, but we've seen Soulcatcher, and
We haven't seen Baldur Shell. Yeah.
Looks like we're headed in that direction now. Adyn also gonna clear out the rest of Upper Green Path. Adyn is also just one Mantis Claw away from being able to use Great Slash in Shio's hut.
Dash Master.
Dash Master is a nice.
Yeah, Adyn will be going even faster now, and Mike is going to be falling even further behind. And there's a VS
that's a
for
much easier VS to acquire. Obviously not if you're Mike, so that dash is now and more useful as time goes on.
Yeah, we're seeing a bit of a snowball here with Adyn getting dash and taking advantage of that to pull ahead in all sorts of ways.
Yes. And yes, Grim is technically in Logic now. All you need is to grab Shade Soul from the fountain.
Yep, which is in Logic because any vertical puts that in Logic on Rando.
Yeah, making quick work with Hornet.
And there's C-Dash. Green Path kind of stacked with a bit of horizontal zoominess.
Yeah, it doesn't instantly get us anything that wasn't already in Logic.
Crossroads Fog Canyon Grubs is not in Logic, but is now doable. Since you can do the dash wings acid skip, and it looks like Adyn is going to go do that now.
Yeah, Mike.
This will inform Mike that He is down some sort of horizontal.
It's down C dash and something else. Could theoretically be C dash claw or C dash ismas or C dash and dash.
Yeah. Very clean assist kit from Adyn.
Yeah.
Ranjo Stenja.
Stalwart Shell's a nice pickup to just incidentally have. And Mike gonna grab these nail upgrades. I like that as a play here. There's nothing on the board that scales with your nail.
Yeah, might be eyeing that defeat Hornet 2 goal right now, since that is definitely possible.
Yeah, also not a boss I'm a fan of without dash, but I think that's most of the bosses in this game, so it looks like Mike just might be angling right for it.
Yeah. I wonder if Mike warps out and tries to find Adyn's horizontal once Adyn marks this goal.
Stopping by for some incidental grubs. Has Mike checked grubs?
Yeah, I believe both of them checked grubs and saw like there was nothing there except there's like a pale orange strength, both at like a bit above 10 grubs.
Yeah. So could just be muscle memory, could be eyeing that 12 grub strength, but either way, making his way into Kingdom's Edge, assuming the Hornet play is what we're going to see next.
Mike could be making the big brain play of using grubs as a geosource for that 3k fountain VS.
Also true. Adyn, meanwhile, just routing around Crossroads real quick. Just a little bit of time investment for this grub goal. Nothing too difficult execution-wise.
Yep. Like, pretty cleanly skipping up here towards Hornet Bench. And we're going to be seeing a pretty content fight here with Nail 2, no dash versus Hornet 2.
Not the most fun thing in the world by any stretch of the imagination. Adyn quickly checking well over here.
Oh, there's Shop Key. I don't think that's in logic on medium.
It is not. Anything dependent on infection. Yeah. So, not immediately rushing to check it. Gonna finish out the grub goal first.
That'll be a third gold for Adyn. And it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here.
Mike, meanwhile, going to start up on the content. So, Hornet 2, or Hornet Sentinel as she is properly known, yes, I'm still dying on this hill, is, I think, a 650 or 700 health boss. So, pretty much an endurance challenge when you don't have spells to chunk out that health bar. And Mike doing a pretty good job of threading the needle, pun mildly intended.
Yeah. Mark of Pride is certainly helping him keep distance while getting damage in.
In finding the dupe wings.
And remembering to clip Dashmaster, you'd love to see it.
It's been a minute, but movement advantage 100% tips in Adyn's favor. It looks like Adyn is also eyeing this Hornet 2 fight, which just a little bit too late. Yeah, that was some seriously impressive Hornet 2 work.
So, any vanilla Kings brands?
That would be very unfortunate. It looks like Adyn is still progressing down into Kingdom's Edge. No dive for the checks behind Oro. Could just be going upper Kingdom's Edge, but I think there are other places he could be diverting his time. I'm guessing we'll get the bench and then leave.
Yeah, looks like it. Meanwhile, Mike is probably giving us even more content here with Joni's Darkroom. Or maybe this could just be Cliff's checks. Or no, this is Stagnest first. Right. Mike wasn't able to get that with Nail too.
And Adyn, meanwhile, starting this skip up. We could be seeing a Dark Joni's race. I unironically like the nail upgrades on Mike's side, being able to one-shot the Venge Flies if you're ever pausing in the middle of the dark room. And it looks like Mike just skipping it anyway, so who knows?
Yeah, this might just be doing these checks first in case there's something to make it easier.
Lantern at Boulder Shell would be quite a treat.
Or right there.
or right there.
I wouldn't be surprised if this is Mike turning straight back around to get that completely free check Joni's now.
Why do I open my mouth? All right, yeah, so this is going to be a quick 6-3 for Mike. Joni's goes from very scary to very, very tame once you've got Lantern.
Yeah, this is very good for Mike, especially if he manages to get this before Adyn gets significantly into Cliffs at all. Honestly, Joni's is still not trivial with Lantern. There's just a bunch of enemies that appear out of nowhere.
It's rough, but again, Nail 2 makes that able to simply smack the Venge Flies around. In putting some things together, seeing the elegant key there. So again, Brand or Trampass here would be tough.
Okay, if you're Adyn and you see Mike mark check Joni's Blessing and obtain Trampass at the same time, do you continue to Joni's?
You have to hold Trampass in that case. Yeah, there is no way you mark obtain Trampass if that's where it is.
Yeah, definitely agree with that, but just an amusing food for thought. Like equipping Lifeblood Core here, this might be going to peaks with Lantern.
Could we be seeing that
this might be
on?
Pretty good for Mike. This might lead Mike over to Resting Grounds, which would get him that simple key we saw from Adyn, and might get him to check Pleasure House for that dash.
And Adyn, meanwhile, this might be the Waterways circuit?
Looks like it.
Been a minute. Since that was opened up, doing the left checks first, I hope we will go around and see Bench Egg as well. Both runners of the caliber where they're unlikely to forget that, but can just skip it if you're prioritizing other things.
Yeah. In terms of things we're looking for, Dreamnail is pretty big here. Gives you Dreamnail, Willow's Meal. Shrine of Believers is pretty easy. I don't remember seeing too much Essence, though. I wasn't paying that much attention. But yeah, that's two relatively quick goals there. Obviously, Claw would be pretty good as always, and Tram, Pass, and King's Brand are extremely good on this board.
And this Whorf just not behaving for Adyn.
Yeah, Dashmaster actually not helping here with those accidental downwards dashes. Looks like Adyn's gonna try on this side instead.
Nope. So an unfortunate time loss in waterways there. Another potential vanilla mask shard in waterways. You truly hate to see that if you're Homophody.
Waterway is pretty empty so far, though there could be anything at that top left egg.
Or indeed the bench egg, which it looks like Adyn is potentially heading for.
Yep, probably.
Yeah, I just imagine you warp out if you're not going for that at this point. Joni's Blessing itself, and Cyclone Slash. I didn't quite see the essence count on that, but it looked expensive.
It was like, oh, I thought it was less than 200, but that may have been the Joni's.
Couldn't see if that was a 1 or a 7 as the leading digit.
Oh, and
there's
Tram
Tram
Pass.
All right, so that's one of the big ones out of the way.
Yep.
And honestly, with Dash and Spell, like Hive Mask Shard, you got C Dash for Waterways grubs. Like, you can start cleaning those up pretty quick.
I don't believe you can do the Isma's grub without Isma's or Claw here.
Yeah, you do need, and you do need Claw for the backwards way through Waterways. But Hive-blooded Zelda, or also very kind for Hive Mask Shard. Looks like Adyn's going to quickly snap that goal up.
Yep. Going to be a 2 goals here for Adyn, and a possible third if Mike doesn't find Tram Pass and necessary things to do Waterways grubs before Adyn finds Claw. So Mike has picked up that second simple key that Adyn got, but hasn't yet checked Pleasure House. Hopefully he checks that soon and catches up on the dash for at least some horizontal movement.
Yeah, that would be a nice way to catch up, and I thought that might have been where Dashmaster was, but the seed not yet taunting Mike.
Dashmaster was at Acid Bridge, I believe, with C-Dash at Hornet.
Right. Yeah, Mike unlikely to go back to upper green path this late into the race unless he's really reading Adyn's movements from the early game well.
Looks like Mike might be following Adyn here into Waterways. So unfortunately, we'll be seeing that Tram Pass without being able to do much about it.
Yeah, that's a rough position to be in. Could have a little bit more luck with the upper Waterways egg, and if that's a dash, that wouldn't be too bad for him.
I kind of doubt he'd have less trouble with that given the nail too, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does sort of lock you out of these pogos. Corpse do not behave very well.
Mike going straight for this Tram Pass, unfortunately still too late. I doubt he'll go for sniping Hive, since he's got to know that Adyn has both horizontal advantage and just time advantage from getting Tram Pass first.
And heading around to get the bench here, which I like.
Yep. Not surprised to see him warp out since he knows Adyn's been here from that Tram Pass mark. Oh no, Mike is trying to do this Pogo up in basin, but I don't think you can do it with Nail 2. Yeah.
Certainly not if
it's
you
definitely
take
not
multiple
enough.
tries. And Adyn's basically already there, aggroing Big B.
Pretty easy with Hive Blood on to not aggro anything else. There's Hidden Station Stag.
Incredible. King's branded Hidden Station
That-
stack?
That could be logical progression, honestly, because Hive is in logic on mild skips with just one copy of Vertical and not both. Queen Station Stag, never mind.
Oh well. Will we get the White Palace check? I know Adyn habitually does not check White Palace. Yeah, but not even gonna entertain the viewers.
Mike's actually going to be going and checking those waterways checks now.
And did Adyn actually acquire Lantern, or is this just doing Stone Sanctuary in the dark?
This
Okay.
is just Stone Tank in the dark.
Not a terribly difficult dark room, but unsure of the motivation like leading to this check in particular. I guess you're finishing out Green Path.
Yeah.
And some incidental geo.
In terms of where progression is, like where Claw could be, I like going to Mantis Lords. Maybe going and doing some bosses like Grim, or I don't know, Dung Defender would be pretty good with that Shade Soul at Basin Fountain. Though I don't know whether Dung Defender is considered a boss or a mini boss or what.
I believe Dung Defender is a boss, and the Wings only pogo up to Dung Defender is a spicy skip.
Huh. I did not realize that was spicy.
I think, again, much like the Cliff skip, it's about the annoyingness of the reset when the Bellfly kills your pogo material. And there's Isma's, so that is... It's not quite Waterways Grubs, but... On our way. Also, that's check Isma's tier whenever Adyn wants it. Dash at Dashmaster. So Mike is back in it at least. Looks like we might be seeing the Mantis Lords play as well. Meanwhile, a casual Hera from Adyn. So we're on our way to Black Egg. Claw at Black Egg is not outside of the realm of possibility. Going for this spike tunnel with Dashmaster, you like to see. I still think it's less awful if you go the other way, but Adyn's through, so that's going to be check Isma's tier. And just like that, Adyn has finally stolen the lead back for the first time this game. Claw might have been in Black Egg once or twice before. Just World Sense at Isma's Grove, but still going to be the upper hand for Adyn. What else haven't we seen? We haven't seen Deep Nest. We haven't seen Upper Kingdom's Edge. We haven't seen Peaks.
Though that's not in logic, with the Spike Tunnel being a spike tunnel.
But both people have the wherewithal. Although there's still enough stuff to run around and check. It looks like Adyn going to pick up Shade Cloak before too long here with that second dash.
Yeah. Unfortunately, going to be beat to all of these checks, but Shade Cloak certainly is useful here. And if Claw is here, it's good for Adyn to be following.
Still no Dream Nail for my favorite check in the game.
Yeah, you can always Shade skip that.
But it's less deeply satisfying than getting the balloon RNG.
I don't know if satisfying is the same word I would use there. Mike will have to be a bit careful with this Mantis Pogo since he has Nail 2. Seems to get pretty nicely though.
Alas, not Vanilla Mantis Claw, also a thing that happens from time to time.
Like, not bothering gathering all this year.
Not interested in that VS anytime soon.
Oh, and there's Dream
Oh, there's
Nail.
a Dream Nail. Right, so right away, that's Willow's Meal.
Yep. And that's also
gonna
pretty
get
quick
you Shrine of Believers.
Not actually that much else on this board that requires Dream Nail. Though there could be something in Glade, I guess.
All of the gating went to Trampass and Kingsbrand. At this point, my money's on something like Vanilla Trampass. I've already disproven Vanilla Kingsbrand, unfortunately, but I want to believe.
We've already seen Trampass, and it wasn't at Trampass.
Oh yeah, ignore me. But I want to see Kingsbrand at Trampass.
Mike showing off some Gorb Pogos here.
Making excellent use of wings and the down slash button this seed.
Surprised Gorb didn't teleport at all there. It looks like Adyn's going to be getting his Dream Nail a bit too late. Kind of good to be caught up on that progression, but again, probably not going to get any goals out of it.
Yeah, unless a Dreamer or Voidheart is something you need. But without any Claw, we're still a bit of a ways away from that.
I think you're not thinking big enough. I was going to say King's Brand at King Fragment. We've had many dash items at other dash items. Why not have king items at king items?
Also within the realm of possibility. That would be some nice content. Like saying if the strategy ain't broke, don't fix it. Zero proving to be a little bit more annoying to just pogo on forever.
Yeah, Zero has the tendency to float up a bit too much.
Also, pogoing Zero means you're pogoing closer to where the swords are. So that's gonna be Shrine of Believers.
Adyn bowing to Mantis Lords, you love to see it.
I love respectful players who also kill Myla. And there is the Cyclone Slash as well at low essence, so you're right, it was a 1 in front, and so that's going to be 2 more goals pretty quickly for Mike, going to bring his lead back to 9-7.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot that Vanilla Nail Art was a goal here. But yeah, so this will be a pretty quick 9-7 from Mike. finding Kingsbrand here would, well, not quite give Mike the victory because getting the Abyss Streak check is still out of reach, as well as the Void Tendrils journal entry. But it would certainly be the last 4 goals that Mike needs to finish.
Alas, not quite the Kingsbrand. So I believe that puts us into the place where everything else we're waiting on some check. You need Claw for Waterways Grubs, you need Kingsbrand for a bunch on this board. You need a Love Key for Collector, and the rest is random.
Yeah, you also need some additional things like Wraiths for the Abyss Streak check, or Dive for Flower to Elder Bug. And looks like Mike will be getting another simple key here at Come Back Here seal. And that might cause him to go into Pleasure House and get Shade Cloak, which would be good for an eventual Kingsbrand. Like showing why this, or oh wait, this wasn't where the, oh right, Grimchild had the simple key, right?
I think so, yes. Adyn just checking Essence, so going to see that Cyclone Slash for the first time. So back in Dirtmouth for Mike.
Looks like this is maybe well check.
Yeah, still, we abandoned the grub hunt for Unbreakable Strength a while ago, so I'm assuming, yeah, this is just going to be well and dip as Adyn heads to Basin and potentially to Deep Nest? We're going all the way to Deep Nest.
Yeah, Deep Nest is a pretty good area to check right now. I guess less good for Adyn without Lantern, since that's not in Logic. But have we even seen Shopkey? I don't remember. Well, regardless, it's pretty empty.
I believe Adyn checked that. Mike gonna stop and grab a Quick Slash, though, which will complement his Nail 2 quite nicely.
Yep, best charm. Looks like Mike might be going down to Dark Deep Nest here, going through the QG arena. Interesting play. Might be looking to capitalize on that progression that Adyn doesn't have.
Yeah, stopping by a distant village. And also, yeah, we're burning through areas that Law could be at. Deep Nest seems as likely as any.
Yeah, I believe with Lantern... Oh, though I guess the Lantern wasn't in Logic either, because that was in Cliffs. Unless Stagnest Stag is somewhere. But yeah, I'm actually not quite sure why Mike is making this play, given that I don't think it's that likely to have Claw.
That Light Deep Nest seems like a safer bet, because it's basically...
It's slower and less dense.
Have we seen Keek's Dark Room Egg?
Yeah, we saw that from Mike pretty early. After getting the Lantern, I believe.
Because then, yeah, it's like Deep Nest, Upper Kingdom's Edge, and getting both VSs and doing some horrible bosses is pretty much what's left, if I'm not mistaken.
There's a random goal for Adyn. Pretty
That's
nice
a nice
break
find
there. There's like still some one-off things like Shape of An, and Overgrown Mound, and Love Key. There's the upper left waterways egg that still hasn't been checked.
Yeah, that might well. That's probably King's brand if it's not Claw.
Yeah.
But okay, so there are a couple one-offs. Also, a lot of things that looks like that Isma's in Adyn's inventory are going to be very helpful for.
Yeah. There's also things like other annoying things like Mantis Village Journal. I don't know what else. Like some, I guess we already mentioned the Deep Nest stuff. Gundam brings up a good point. Trader Lord.
Intended Claw. It's happened a couple times in the past. It's never fun when it happens. But anyway, my money remains King's brand at Trampass, please. For me, as a personal favor.
I still want it to be
at
King Fragment.
That would certainly punish Adyn for getting Hidden Station Stag and then not actually doing the White Palace check.
This Weaver's Den chest check will be extremely annoying for Mike here.
Yes, no spells and no claw, and looks like he's just abandoning it for now.
Okay, yeah. You would have to reset the room to be able to do the Spider Pogo again, and then you need to do another Spider Pogo with inside that. It's pretty horrible.
So, we're getting Deep Nest pretty well checked from both sides. So,
yeah.
King's brand in Colo 2, Claw in Colo 1? Anyone? Or,
King's brand at Flower Quest. You know, there's a lot of cursed things.
King's brand at Pale Lurker. Mike having some fun baiting these spiders.
I assume Mike is not going to be checking anything beyond the first check in Beast Den here, because the rest requires a shade skip that is in spicy.
Yeah, it's a really annoying shade skip.
Yeah, it's not that bad if you have like Distant Village Stag or Dream Gate, but like honestly, the most annoying part of it is just getting back there. Because you have to do all of this from wherever you came from.
Man, but remember like an hour ago when we saw Wings of a Zelda and we're like, this seed is going to be kind?
Yeah, not quite.
Not quite. Adyn finally gonna pick up Lantern in just a second here.
Might inspire him to follow Mike into Dark Deep Nest. So it looks like we're going to be getting a Balder Shell check here as well. I don't think we've seen that.
I don't believe so. Mike's still devoid of spells entirely.
Yeah, I think Mike, in fact, just like got the lantern and then immediately backtracked upwards for Jonies.
Resting ground stack would have been useful a long time ago.
Looks like Adyn's going to be going to Peaks now with that lantern. At least getting the dark room check. Maybe going further with a spike tunnel.
It's not a bad play at this point. There's always the Duke Claw, and
Distant Village just
probably doesn't have Claw either.
Yeah. Distant Village has been pretty full of pale ore here. Looks like Mike is going to make the Upper Kingdom's Edge play. Gonna see that Claw and Colo 1 that we've been predicting.
That would be the dream. Claw and Colo 1, King's brand and Colo 2. I believe.
Love Key at Colo 2 actually with King's brand at Collector for the ultimate snowballing.
It's bad enough when you have to do Collector for the goal, but putting actual items there, imagine.
Well, never mind.
Oh.
That's a bit more accessible than
Alas.
Color
So that, again, we're so busy looking for like a bunch of other things that the claw doesn't matter like a whole lot.
It would matter more for Adyn, who already has both C-Dash and Ismas for Waterways Grubs, but Mike still needs one of those two to be able to do Waterways Grubs at all.
Yeah, and like if Kingsbrand is in peak somewhere accessible to Adyn, it doesn't matter that he doesn't have Claw. Or if Kingsbrand is somewhere else, there's our third nail art that we've seen.
That was Great Slash. That was like very early, right?
Yeah, that was Adyn pulled that almost right away.
Was it like Fungal somewhere?
Yeah, I want to say like Spores, maybe? Elegy, so now Adyn can even check the Crystal Peaks chest.
The real question is, are we getting a CG2 Shade Skip today?
That would be some content. Mike heading right out to check Pale Lurker.
Looks like the answer is no from Adyn. This is just going to be the Dream Nail Cheese, or perhaps not? Looks like he's trying to kill. And just damage tanking through it.
Shoutouts to Angry Yoshi. It's been a while since we've heard the dulcet tones of Pale Lurker on a stream. So, leaving that CG2 behind, can theoretically get to most other things in Crystal Peak.
I think the only ones that Adyn can't get are the dive-locked ones.
Yeah, I mean, Crown is a nightmare without Claw. The
Fair.
enemy
Yeah.
AI is the worst. But just about everything
Meanwhile,
else.
Love Key for Mike at Kingdom's Edge entrance, so that'll be a 10th goal. And as we all know, since Kingsbrand is at Collector, that's definitely just game right there.
Yeah, I mean, if he finds it, yes it is.
But never mind.
So about
There's
that-
Kingsbrand for Adyn. So
Oh wow.
that's not quite enough for Adyn, though. That he still needs to get one more goal in addition to the 4 Abyss ones, and these 4 Abyss goals will take quite a bit.
It doesn't have wraiths. We still haven't found
Oh,
a
yeah.
single wraiths for the Abyss Shriek track.
That's another good point.
But assuming that Adyn does get all 4 of the Abyss goals, because I find it hard to believe that Mike is going to hard read Kingsbrand at deep focus anytime soon. This could be a race to our first dive for Flower to Elderbug.
Yeah, a race to dive, a race between like Adyn getting Claw and Mike getting like C-Dash or Ismas for Waterways Grubs. This is a pretty interesting race right now. Of course, it could all be ended by
Adyn
like
also-
the right items here at Abyss.
Yeah, Adyn also doesn't have Dreamgate, but Adyn is the one who found Hidden Station Stag, so the Lifeblood Core Room is actually okay for him.
Yeah.
Mike with Nail 2 Quick Slash, having some fun with Collector.
I believe. Oh, okay. So that's Swim in the Void pull for Adyn. Adyn doesn't need to do a Shade Skip to get to Void Tendrils due to having Shade Cloak, but it looks like he'll be doing Lifeblood Core Room first. And if you're Mike, you've got to be sweating now, seeing Adyn with 9 goals and knowing that Adyn has Kingsbrand at this point.
Yeah, you've got, you might as well start treating it like it's 12-9 against you, or 12-10 against you at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Monomon at Collector's Map would be great, because that way you can't just automatically lose the game.
Dive at Collector's Map would also be great, because that opens up a lot of checks. But it's just a Hollowness seal and 3 grubs.
3 grubs, not the most useful thing. It is a king's item at King Fragment, not the appropriate one though.
Looks like Mike is gonna go up to Stag Nest here. I forget if we saw this from Adyn. I thought we did, but I'm not sure.
I think we did. It was nothing of huge import. Adyn gonna grab Lifeblood Core Room.
I know that C- was at Hornet 1, but I forget where Adyn found Ismas, and those are the two things that would be important for Mike perhaps getting that Waterways Grubs goal. Though it looks like Mike is going to be following Adyn into peaks here, so we might see some King's Brand. Never mind.
It's gonna be a dive race. If dive is here, I'll scream, but it looks like it might well be dive race.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Mike gets Mike does still need something else for Waterways Grubs.
Yeah.
I still have not seen the dupe claw location either, so I don't know.
Yeah, Adyn will definitely be getting these 2 goals here. Even if Mike went straight for a deep focus, Adyn's just too close here to this Bistreak check and has the Shade Cloak advantage for
Stag.
For Void Tendril's journal entry. So where is Adyn going here? Maybe he started autopiloting down towards autopilot instead of towards the journal. Gotta love that quick slash on Mike's side, killing CG1.
So gonna be 11 to 10, 12 to 10 even. 12 to 10 in just a second here. With Void Tendril's journal entry for Adyn.
I think Adyn still needs to go to Void Tendrils itself. This was just a journal.
Oh, this is just a journal, my mistake. But we are at 11 right now with Abyss Shriek check. Soon to be 12. And so, you're Mike, you're really hunting for something. Monomon would be a good start. You really can't afford to give that up. It's the NMG check, I believe. Notably not bothering to equip King Soul. Just gonna rush the goal.
Mike does have the claw advantage here, so it means there are many places that Monomon and dive could be that Adyn just couldn't check right now, or would have a much harder time checking. And I don't know if Adyn will choose to go over to upper edge for that claw, since Mike has already marked collector.
And that is Mike's sort of biggest advantage here. Let's see what NMG is hiding for us today.
Stag. That might.
Yeah, is that intended? Is that possible to be intended?
I don't remember where all of the things were. I know the one at Essence was reachable, so was Sporgs. I don't know about dash slash. I forgot where that was. But either way, the claw could be reached without Stagna Stag, I think. So probably not intended progression.
Yes, but it means that lantern was available through not spicy skips before claw, which would be entertaining to say the least if there was something hiding for us. Although I guess we cleared out most of the dark rooms at this point. Adyn going up to 12. Aim point. Just need Monomon or a dive or claw.
Yeah. Looks like Adyn's going to be checking a bit of Distant Village here. Curious to see if he'll do the Shade Skip. We've already seen these 2 checks, but we haven't seen anything further in Beast End, namely the Egger Hera.
Just grabbing the lower tram bench and then warping away. Continue on in Crystal Peaks.
Yeah, this will be actually pretty good for Mike, since Adyn hasn't actually done all of these checks and warped out after getting Deep Focus. And I think Adyn's actually pretty unlikely to come... or Mike is pretty unlikely to check Deep Focus right away, so we'll probably not even realize that Adyn's been here, which will be good for him if he continues.
Yeah, a very clean CG2 fight with the Spell Twister, nice to have, but not one of the prizes.
Yeah, certainly not very useful right now for Mike with literally no spells.
Also fair. Also very fair. Yeah, best case scenario for Mike is something is here behind Deep Focus, and he grabs it quick like. It's Adyn with the advantage of... Wow. Adyn with the advantage of having the lights on and also having nail 1 or nail 0 rather, will be able to get all of these checks in Weaver's Den. If there's a dive at that last check in Weaver's Den, that would be so unfortunate for Mike.
Still thinking of that top left egg in Waterways in terms of places where it would be unfortunate for progression to be.
That check simply doesn't exist anymore. It's fine.
No underplat from Mike, unfortunate.
Locus SK has left the chat, and Justice Seal at C-Dash could continue to descending dark if you really wanted to. Looks like that's the general direction he's heading in.
Yeah, I can't check D-Dark itself due to, not having dive, but can at least get this chest. And it's just Soul Catcher.
That's a sigh of relief for Mike for sure.
Oh, and there's Mike's own Wraiths.
Well, at least he's got a spell now.
Not the spell he was most looking for, but helpful nonetheless. Looks like this is Greta for Mike.
Adyn, meanwhile, finishing out the rest of Abyss. If there is a dive on top of the 4 goals here, or Dupe Claw or Monomon, that is just about the best thing it could be.
Yep. Abyss has been stacked. This truly is a Locust Seed. even though it wasn't generated by Locust.
As I say, the minute Locust steps off of the seed generation, we get 4 goals in a base. Chat hard calling Bretta to have both Monomon and Dive. Love the enthusiasm.
Adyn luring the shade down here. Not informed that you can do a hazard respawn to get back up by poking on these spikes. Yeah, if you hazard respawn on those spikes right there, you will spawn back up at the top. And
It's like he's
Adyn
going
will now
to
find
discover
out about that.
incidentally, yeah. Is Mike checking Glowing Womb? Also giving into the siren song of the past couple of games. But not going to find anything there. Let's see what's in Void Heart. Also a famous location for having Claw from time to time.
Green Path Stag, not quite Claw.
A little bit less useful than Claw. Also, picking up Glowing Womb may remind Mike to check Glowing Womb, but nope, looks like we're getting Fungal Core and Super Secret Seal first.
To be fair, Mike is still lacking in C-Dash, so, or even Dash Master. So Glowing Womb
that's
is no joke.
right. Only the Wraiths Airstall available to him. My mistake. In checking Shape of Un.
Looks like Mike is just heading over to do as many claw checks as possible with Fungal Core here.
All hard-locked Claw stuff, so good way to get back into this. Third Dream Nail. Egg there, and Adyn finds the other claw. That is probably GG.
Yeah.
Just quickly get through Isma's Grove. Warps right to the tram bench. Mike would need him to take a couple unfortunate warp dunks, and Mike needs this check to be a C-Dasher in Isma's. He is to have any hope, and probably a C-Dash just on timing.
Yeah.
Nope.
And it was not meant to be.
So really impressive comeback from Adyn, carried hard by the early access to Tram Pass and the only access to King's Brand we saw this seed. That is, sometimes you get a seed where 7 or 8 total goals are locked behind 2 items.
Yep, that is how Lockout be sometimes.
And so this will be an exciting race to watch back, to pick up on some of the early habits of the other players, and generally how they routed going into Game 2. There's a lot of data here, but I'm excited to see what changes in terms of Game 2, especially if like False Knight Moloch's on the board again. How does it change your play to know that both people donated the goal a little bit in Game 1? Heading back towards going to end it by Collector as Adyn runs up to this third grub.
And that is GG's, I believe. Or wait, has Adyn not gotten the last grub? Or the first grub? I guess Adyn didn't. That did look like it too. That did look like it too, and Adyn doesn't seem to be GGing here, so.
I guess it must have been Mike that got the first grub, but alright. I'm quick, God, it would be insult to injury if like Oro had a dive. Mono on.
Just long nail.
Not quite a dive. In throwing out a victory fireball. And that will be GG.
Both racers have now been marked as done, so they'll get invitations to a post-race interview here. And this is not the end.
Spoiler log. And
This is not the
find
end
some
of this
dives.
best of three. Adyn is now up 1-0, but they will be continuing to play against each other with another match tomorrow.
GG.
GG's.
Where was King's brand then?
First thing first, I have never seen a board with 4 goals locked behind this. Like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, this is why I really think they should exclude in some way.
We have the technology. We are working on it. King's brand Mike was at deep focus.
Yeah, I
Okay,
just came back there right now and I'm moving to deep focus. Because that won't be the race. I don't know if you found Clover's. Clover's at Shape of Fun. I just found it right at the end.
I got the other one.
Yeah.
I was looking for Isma's or C-Dash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mike's claw was at Acrid Egg. So the big thing that we never saw was dives between either of you.
Yeah, we dodged them all, I think.
Looks like
Just
a dive at Basin Simple Key, a dive at the Journal Below Stone Sanctuary, and a dive at Nosk.
Nice.
Um,
Also, I really hope there's nothing at Hive Night. Because that would be funny, like Monomon at Hive Night or something.
Oh, even worse than Hive Night. Both of you walked, Mike walked past, both of you tried to get to the top left egg in Waterways, but failed, and then left it behind. So, I certainly would like to know what was there.
So let's start with Hive Blood, which, although very, very funny, was not ultimately anything. It was the Dupe Dreamer at Hive Night. And
Nice.
World Sense. Oh, I guess World Sense was Quick Focus, which was a goal on the board. So technically a goal at Hive Night. Okay, the upper egg in Waterways was... Let's see.
I believe it's the pickup? Or maybe the
Well,
bug sack.
Was so close to vanilla at Rancid Egg Waterways West pickup is Rancid Egg Waterways Main. Share
Nice. Also shout outs to 9 rancid eggs that I found on this race. Like,
Yeah, it was a pretty eggy
Yeah.
seed.
I have 8, so yeah, I know what you mean.
I found so many trash in the first half of the seed, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I still have no spells.
I have 1 VS and 1 Braves. Also, the 1 Braves that I found was at Live Block
no.
Egg.
Sorry, I lie. I did find wraiths at the end in peaks.
Yeah, raise to the chest. Our Monomon was at Simple Key Pale Lurker.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
okay.
So all you had to
never
do, Mike,
happened.
was completely damageless Pale Lurker.
I
Easy.
mean, nail too.
I had nail
Right.
2 by then. But yeah, no spells. I considered it.
And as far as other spells go, in addition to the VS you guys both saw at the fountain, the third VS was at God Tuner. Incredible. Conra hates this seed.
Oh my god.
Nice.
Yeah, I just couldn't find anything. I looked out with Elegant Key and Lantern both in cliffs.
Yeah.
And then that was it. until
The C-dash you were looking for, Mike, was at Hornet 1.
Yeah, I figured it was somewhere in either Green Path or Fungal. I just didn't want to do the whole track to Green Path. Especially given that we also needed Monomon and Dive, and those weren't there.
It's a hard call to make when you're running around, especially in the moments between Aiden marking Void Pool and knowing that the rest is left in front of him.
Yeah, I know that was painful. I'm sorry about that, but
Rando gonna rando.
Yeah, no, just like four goals in Abyss is a bit crazy.
Yeah, that is why we are playing best of 3 for these.
Yeah.
Winners finals.
But yeah, like Trampas and Brand were both like Trampas was 3 goals, and then Kingsbrand was 4.
Yeah, Trampas was at, I think, the water race Rancideg next to the bench.
I found that one.
Mike found that pretty quickly after you, but Mike didn't have dash at that point.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was wings only. It's still. Where was your second dash for the Tendrils journal entry?
I have no clue. I was rushing like random checks at the point.
You both had one of the same dashes, but Adyn got his first dash in Pleasure House.
Oh, I never went back and checked it. Yep, fair enough.
And then, just for chat's edification, the third copy of Wraiths was at Pale or Crystal Peak. So yeah, no damage this seed.
Also, what dream nail did Mike get?
Mike had like 3 dream nails. Mike
I had a working dream.
Oh, okay.
I got the one at Mantis Lords.
You found the same first dream nail.
Yeah.
That was the one I got at the beginning. That was the one that gave me the rush. Then there was a second one at Palm Relic, and a third one in Fungal Core.
You know, casual. But the fourth one, for what it's worth, was at Lurian.
Just all in Fungal.
Oh, sorry, I'm reading that backwards. That's Lurian at Dreamnail. Ignore me. Where was the fourth one?
Oh yeah, I was so mad when I found Lurian at Dream Nail, like, why this one?
Yeah, I laughed.
It's like a rule of the seed. If you ever get 2 dreamers on the board, you're fated to find the other one first.
Yeah, the other one first, and in Resting Grounds, where you want to set up for Elderbug without a dreamer.
Yeah. Also, Mike, did you do Dark Journeys or did you get the lantern and do that after?
Oh, Lantern was in Glyphs. So
Yeah, I found that later on.
No, I sort of went, I'm not doing Dark Journeys because I don't really know.
Yeah, actually that lantern was what led me to Kingsbrand eventually, because I was running out of checks and I was like, I'm gonna check the rest of Cliffs. And I found lantern and I was like, okay, CPX is a lot of checks, so I will go there.
Yeah, because you both spike tunneled in. No, Mike had Claw by the time he went to CPX, but Adyn spike tunneled in.
Yep.
Yeah, like, it's so weird that I had absolutely no clue that he has Claw, because there was nothing in the board that's
I don't think I marked. I think Collector was the only goal I marked after getting Claw.
Yeah, so I had no clue. So I was so happy
very long.
Yeah, I was so happy that I found that Claw, and I was like, okay, he probably doesn't have this, but yeah, that's what he did.
Get the rare seed that does not turn on Claw, and all it takes is 7 goals behind Trampas and Kingsbrand.
Yeah. I believe the variance calculation for this board is actually pretty low, since I don't think any of those Trampas or Kingsbrand goals really, besides like actual obtained Trampas, are considered for
random. Yeah, there was not a lot of static goals. I had no idea what Adyn was or was checking most of the time. Like the only thing I had a guess about was Trampas in Waterways.
Which, to your credit, ended up being spot on.
Or was it?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was either Trampas. No, I might have been looking for C-Dash at that point because it still didn't have horizontal, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, C-Dash was at Hornet 1 and Dash Pass at Acid Bridge.
So
GG and
GG's
race again tomorrow.
a good game
GG's,
one.
Yep.
I don't know if we have a channel yet. It looks like we don't have a channel yet, but we will see you back on one SpeedGaming channel tomorrow, also at 4 Eastern, for Game 2 of Mike versus Adyn.